Good day, everyone. Anyway, I'm using a PowerPoint presentation so that it will be easy for me to present our project proposal of the simulation of neurons. The project proponent and the implementer is me and my group mates, as well as the activity duration and length of simulation activity. So far, this activity will take for a weeks after all groups will then proposing their assigned simulation project. So, to start with the topic that we have acknowledged and to be discussed today, first is the background. In the nervous system, neurons is defined by the presence of a special type of cell, which is the neuron. It is an electrically excitable cell that communicates with other cells via specialized connections called synapses. Neurons are typically classified into three types based on their functions: the sensory neurons, the motor neurons, and the interneurons. And according to the National Institute of Neurological Disorder, neurons are the information messengers. Everything we think and feel and what we do would be impossible without the work and the presence of neurons. Without neurons in our body, our brain would be mush and cannot control everything. The purpose of this activity is to create an accurate information, and through simulation model of neurons and by studying the flow of neurons and its function, with an end goal of helping other students to understand how action potential influence the movement of signal. And through FIT simulation software, we will be able to see the flow and other interactions of neurons. The scope of this simulation project will focus primarily on modeling the movement of neurons. By the end of this activity, we students will be able to determine the movement of signals between neurons, to understand the resting and action potential that relates to the voltage changes in axon membrane, and to see how neurons work. These are the basic concept of neurons. Neurons has three main parts: the dendrites, axon, and the soma or the cell body. So these three main parts is look like a tree. The upper portion is look like a branches, which is the dendrites where neurons receive most of the information. And those signals picked up by the dendrites will be interpreted in the cell body. The soma or the cell body takes all the information from the dendrites. And if the signal coming from the dendrites is strong enough, then the signal is sent to next part of the neuron, which is the axon. And this point, the signal is called an action potential. Then signal or the action potential travels down the axon. When the signal reaches the axon terminal, it can cause the release of information. So this is the related formula in calculating the neuron. A neuron computes an activation function followed by a linear function using this formula. Z is equal to Wx plus B, where X is the input signal vector, W represents the weight of the signal or information, and B the Bayes vector, which is associated with the storage of information. These are the materials needed for the simulation activity, and for the main activity, we will use laptop or Android phones, PET simulation software, paper, and pen for the observation. I also include another activity, but it is just based on how action potential takes place when the signal is strong enough and not strong enough, and how fast the information released. So this is the flow of our activity, and this is explained by our procedures. So using your laptop or Android phones, open the PhET simulation software. Choose biology, category, and search for neuron and click it. Select all ions, charges, concentrations first in the control table. Stimulate the neuron. Observe what you see in the axon membrane. Select potential chart to see how fast the movement of neurons. Zoom in the screen. frame to frame, pause, rewind, move forward so that you can clearly see what happened when the action potential hits. Observe the both ion passages, and lastly, record your observation in a sheet of paper. And this is our references and getting the related topics about neurons. Thank you.